Hello Army, this is Jin. I'm so happy to be with you today. Before we start, I want to know one thing. Where are you watching from? Leave your country or city in the comments so we can all feel closer as a family. The sea has always been my quiet friend. When the noise of the world fades, when the lights dim, and people stop calling your name, that's when the waves begin to speak. They never shout. They whisper softly, endlessly, carrying every memory I once tried to forget. Today, as the dusk slowly paints the horizon in gold and crimson, I stand where time seems to pause. The air tastes like salt and longing. Every heartbeat echoes against the fading sun, and I realize how fragile yet powerful love can be. I came to this shore not for silence, but for reflection. There is something about the ocean that knows everything about human emotion. You can hide your tears, your pain, your fears, but the waves will still read them. I remember the times I stood in front of thousands of you, singing, smiling, laughing like I had no worries in the world. But beneath that stage light, I always carried a quiet heart, a heart that still wondered if love could survive distance, fame, and time. As I stand here now, I can almost hear your voices, Army, chanting my name, calling, Jin, we love you, like an endless tide. It's strange how love travels. You may be miles away, but your warmth reaches me like sunlight on the water. The horizon in front of me isn't just the end of the day, it's a reminder that some things never truly end. They change, they fade, but they don't disappear. The wind brushes through my hair, and I close my eyes. Somewhere behind those clouds, the same sun that watched us during concerts is now setting. I think about everything we've shared, the laughter, the tears, the unspoken promises. Maybe love doesn't need to be loud. Maybe it's in the quiet moments, in the way we remember each other even when life pulls us apart. When I open my eyes, I see a reflection on the water, soft, trembling, like a memory trying to come back. I see myself, years ago, holding a microphone with trembling hands, smiling at a sea of purple lights. And then, I see the future me, older, quieter, but still carrying the same heart. That's when I realize, love isn't something you chase. It's something that stays, even when you walk away. The orange glow of dusk is fading now, turning to deep indigo. The air grows cooler, and I take a slow breath. The sea answers with a sigh, as if it understands. I whisper, I'm still here. Maybe no one hears it, but the ocean does. And maybe, somewhere out there, you do too. This story begins not with fame or music, but with the quiet courage to feel, to love, without expecting. To stand at the edge of something vast and know that what matters most cannot be seen, only felt. So tonight, let me take you on a journey not of stages or cameras, but of heartbeats and waves. Stay with me, Army, until the very last light fades, and together we'll discover that even in the silence, love still speaks. The waves are calm tonight, almost too gentle to be real. I sit down on the sand, feeling its coolness beneath my palms. The world seems to slow here, and that's what I love about the sea. It doesn't rush you, it doesn't demand anything, it just listens. Maybe that's why I came back, because sometimes when the applause fades and the spotlight turns away, what a person needs the most isn't noise, it's understanding. I look out to the horizon, and for a brief moment, I see the sun's reflection bending and breaking on the surface of the water. It reminds me of how fragile we all are, how love, fame, and even memories can bend under the weight of time. And yet, like the ocean, we find ways to stay infinite. When I was younger, I used to think that love meant holding on tightly. I thought that if I gave everything, every song, every smile, every word, then maybe I could stop time. But time never stops. It moves, just like the tide. And so I learned that love isn't about holding on, it's about learning how to let go, yet still feel connected. That's what Army has taught me. Every message you send, every light stick raised high in the dark arenas, it all lives inside me. You've turned every echo of loneliness into music. When I was serving, when I was away, I used to wonder, Will they still wait? Will they still remember? And then I would see your letters, your posts, your hearts beating in purple, and I realized something so powerful. It wasn't me who kept the bond alive. It was you. Now, standing here as the sky deepens into twilight, I think about those quiet nights when I'd look at the stars and wonder if any of you were doing the same. Maybe love is exactly that, a silent connection between souls who may never meet, yet still find comfort in each other's light. The sea breeze carries a chill now, but it doesn't feel lonely. It feels alive. I trace a heart on the sand, small and imperfect, just like every human emotion. The waves slowly reach it, washing it away, but I don't feel sad. Because love, when real, doesn't need to last on the surface. It lives beneath, just like the tide that hides under calm water. I take out my phone and scroll through pictures, my members, the fans, moments that feel like yesterday. There is laughter, there are tears, there are stages where my voice cracked because the emotions were too much. People think that idols always stand above the crowd, but the truth is we stand because of you. Without your cheers, your hope, your patience, none of this would exist. As I keep looking at the sea, I realize how similar it is to ARMY. You never stop moving, you change colors, you rise and fall, but you never disappear. You're always there, just like the waves, steady, devoted, eternal. I close my eyes again and listen carefully. There's a sound between the waves, almost like a heartbeat. Maybe it's the rhythm of all those who once whispered, "We miss you, Jin." And maybe tonight I'm whispering back, "I missed you too." The stars begin to pierce through the dark sky now, and their reflections dance on the water like tiny promises. I can't help but smile. The night doesn't feel empty anymore. It feels full of everything I once loved and still love. Every memory, every dream, every person who ever believed in me, they're all here, breathing with the ocean. So if you're watching this from far away, I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Listen to your own heartbeat. Do you hear it? That's the same rhythm that connects us. Even if we are separated by distance, by language, by time zones, the heart doesn't lie. Love still finds its way back, always. And when the morning comes, maybe the world will move again. The noise will return, the cameras will flash, the songs will play. But for now, just for this moment, let the dusk stay. Let it hold you like an old friend. Because even when the light fades, the warmth it leaves behind can last forever. So I stay here, unmoving, watching as the waves keep reaching the shore and retreating again. It feels like breathing, like life itself. I whisper softly, almost to myself, even when it hurts, love is still beautiful. And as the sea answers in its endless rhythm, I know the story isn't over. It's only changing form. The night deepens, and the sound of the waves grows softer, more rhythmic, like the heartbeat of the world. I can see the moon slowly rising, spreading silver light over the water. It's beautiful, but there's something lonely about that beauty. Maybe that's why I've always loved the night, because it understands silence without asking questions. The stars above me are endless. I try to count them, but I lose track after a few seconds. And then I laugh quietly, because that's how I feel about love too. You can try to measure it, try to define it, but it always escapes your grasp. It's not meant to be contained, it's meant to be felt. Sometimes people ask me, "Jin, do you ever regret anything?" And the truth is, yes, there are things I wish I could redo. Times when I said too little, moments when I smiled instead of crying, days when I pushed away people who were only trying to love me. But regrets are like the tide, they come, they touch you and then they leave. What matters is what remains after they're gone. And what remains for me is gratitude. Gratitude for every voice that called my name, for every fan who waited when I disappeared into silence, for every friend who stood beside me when I didn't have the strength to stand alone. You may never truly understand how much that means. When I say, "I love you, Army," it's not a phrase I repeat for comfort. It's a truth I live with. Because without you, Jin wouldn't be Jin. I pick up a seashell, small and white, perfectly shaped by the years it spent tumbling in the waves. I hold it close to my ear, listening to the sound inside. People say it's the sea, but I think it's the echo of everything we've ever felt. Joy, pain, hope, longing. It reminds me of the first time I stood on a stage, my heart racing, unsure if I could make you proud. And then I remember the cheers, the tears, the lights. You gave me courage. You gave me a reason to believe that even the quietest heart could still be heard. The air grows colder, and I pull my jacket closer around me. I look toward the horizon, and I think of time, how it moves like the ocean, unstoppable, infinite. We can't slow it down, but we can choose how to live within it. Some people chase success, others chase peace. For me, I think I've always been chasing connection, not just through music, but through meaning. I wanted every song, every lyric to be a bridge, to make someone out there feel less alone. And that's what you've given me in return. A bridge that leads back home, even when I was far away, even when the world felt heavy. I could close my eyes and feel the strength of millions of hearts beating for me. That's not just fame, that's love. Real, rare, and indescribable. I lean back on the sand and stare at the sky again. The moon is high now, glowing like a promise. The waves keep moving, their rhythm unbroken. Somewhere in the distance I hear laughter, a couple walking by, maybe children playing near the pier. Life keeps moving, even when we stop to remember. That's what makes it so beautiful. For a moment, I wonder what love means to me now. It used to be passion, excitement, that rush of feeling when you're standing in front of thousands of people. But now, it's quieter. It's peace. It's knowing that even when I'm alone, I'm never really alone. Because your love doesn't live in distance, it lives in memory, in faith, in the invisible thread that ties hearts together across oceans. I take a deep breath and smile to myself. Even if I never say everything, you'll still understand. I whisper. Because that's what army does. You feel more than I can ever explain. You see through the silence, through the pauses between words. The night is colder now. The tide creeps closer to my feet, as if the sea wants to remind me that everything returns to its source. Maybe that's true for love too. It always finds its way back. I stand again, brushing the sand from my hands. The sky is a mirror of stars and shadows, and the wind carries the faint scent of salt and rain. I whisper softly, someday, when I sing again, I'll sing for this moment, for the sea, the sky, and for you who are still listening. And then I walk closer to the water's edge. The waves touch my shoes, and for the first time tonight, I feel tears gathering in my eyes, not from sadness, but from the overwhelming beauty of stillness. It's strange how the quietest moments can speak the loudest. This is what love has become for me. Not a loud confession, but a quiet truth. Something that stays, even when the world forgets. Something that moves, even when I stand still. I close my eyes once more, feeling the world around me breathe. And in that fragile stillness, I know this. No matter how far life takes me, no matter how much changes, the ocean will always carry your voice back to me. The wind begins to shift, carrying a softer rhythm, almost like music. It dances through my hair, brushes across my face, and it feels like a familiar touch, one that belongs to every stage I've ever stood on. Every night I've looked out at the glowing ocean of purple lights. I close my eyes, and for a moment, I can see it all again. The roar of the crowd, the synchronized chants, the way every light stick rose like a heartbeat. That was love, in its loudest form. But tonight, the love feels different. It's quieter, more fragile, yet deeper than anything I've ever known. It's the kind of love that doesn't need to be shouted to be real. It's the kind that lingers even after the last song fades, the kind that survives in the silence between words. I used to think silence was loneliness, but now I know it can also be peace. I walk slowly along the water's edge, each step sinking lightly into the wet sand. The moonlight reflects on the surface, and it feels as though I'm walking through time itself. Every ripple seems to hold a memory. Bangtan's laughter backstage, Jimin's teasing, Namjoon's thoughtful quiet, Jungkook's bright energy, Taehyung's mischief, Yoongi's honesty, Hoseok's endless warmth. They're all part of the tide that shaped me. And yet, beyond them there's you, ARMY. You, who stayed, even when you could have moved on. You, who held on. Not because I asked, but because your heart simply wouldn't let go. That's not something I can ever repay. It's not something I even want to repay. I just want to honor it. The sea keeps whispering, and I listen. It feels like it's telling me stories of people who once stood where I stand now. People who loved, lost, waited, and still believed. Maybe every wave carries a message from someone who once hoped to be remembered. I smile at the thought that maybe long after I'm gone, my voice will become part of that same ocean, echoing softly across the horizon. Sometimes, when I write lyrics, I don't start with words, I start with feelings. I think about the color of a moment, the shape of a memory, the taste of air before a goodbye. Tonight, if I could write a song, it would sound like this. The quiet pool of the tide, the gentle ache in the heart, the shimmer of moonlight on salt water. It wouldn't need a melody, because the emotion would already sing. I bend down and pick up a smooth stone. It's small, unremarkable, but when I hold it under the moonlight, it glows faintly. I throw it into the sea, watching it skip twice before disappearing beneath the surface. That's how I imagine my words sometimes rippling for a while before fading into the deep. But even when they vanish, the motion remains, the feeling remains. There are moments in life when you realize that love doesn't need witnesses. You don't need the crowd to understand what your heart already knows. I think of all the ARMY watching right now. Some alone in their rooms, some surrounded by friends, some maybe crying quietly without knowing why. I want to tell you this. It's okay to feel. It's okay to miss, to long, to love from afar. Because real connection doesn't fade with distance, it deepens. The stars above begin to shift, their light scattering across the sky like 1,000 memories being released. I think of how fragile we all are, how even the brightest stars burn out someday. But what makes them eternal isn't how long they shine, but how deeply they're remembered. That's what I hope for too. Not endless fame, not perfection, but a memory that feels warm when recalled. I pause for a long time, watching the waves break and retreat. I whisper, thank you, though there's no one near enough to hear. Maybe it's to the sea, maybe to you, maybe to life itself. Because despite everything, the storms, the distance, the silence, I'm still here. Still standing, still loving. And that I realize is enough. I smile, feeling a tear slide down my cheek. It doesn't feel sad, it feels cleansing, like the ocean has reached inside me and taken away the weight of all the unspoken things. In its place, it leaves stillness and a quiet promise. The promise that love, once real, never truly ends. It transforms, it drifts, it becomes part of something larger, like a wave returning to the sea. I whisper to the wind, if you can hear me, take my voice to them. Tell them I'm grateful. Tell them I remember. And in the distance, a stronger wave rolls in, crashing at my feet like an answer. I laugh softly. Maybe that's the universe's way of saying it. Heard me. As I walk back along the beach, I leave behind footprints that the tide will soon erase. But that's the beauty of it, isn't it? You don't need to leave marks for love to exist. Some of the most powerful things in life are invisible, like the wind, like faith, like the quiet pull between two souls that refuse to forget each other. So, to every ARMY watching, wherever you are, if you ever feel like the world is too loud or your heart too heavy, remember this moment. Remember the sea, the stars, and the way dusk gently touched the heart. Because even when everything fades, love is still there waiting at the edge of the waves. The night has fallen completely now. The last traces of orange have vanished from the horizon, replaced by a velvet black sky scattered with stars. The moon has climbed higher, glowing like a watchful guardian above the sea. I can hear the soft murmur of the waves, blending with the distant hum of the world, a quiet symphony of everything that exists beyond words. I sit again on the sand, my knees drawn close, my eyes fixed on the horizon that no longer glows but still shimmers faintly with the reflection of the stars. There's a strange peace that comes when you stop fighting silence. It's almost as if the world finally exhales and you can hear your own thoughts again. That's what this moment feels like, an exhale. After years of noise, after countless stages, after unspoken goodbyes, when I look back, the memories come like waves, endless, unpredictable, sometimes gentle, sometimes overwhelming. I remember the sound of the audience singing along during Epiphany. I remember the way the lights sparkled like 1,000 constellations inside the stadium. I remember thinking, I wish this moment could last forever. But even then, deep down, I knew that nothing lasts forever. That's why it becomes precious. There's beauty in endings, I've learned. Because endings teach us to appreciate presence. You never realize how bright a light shines until you've seen it fade. That's how I feel about love, about time, about all of you. When we're together, it's easy to think it'll always be like this. But when we're apart, that's when I understand how much it all truly meant. Sometimes when I read messages from ARMY, I see words like, "We're still here, Jin," or "We never left." Those words hit me harder than you might imagine, because they remind me that even though the world keeps spinning, some hearts choose to stay still for love. That's not just devotion, that's faith. And faith is the rarest form of love there is. The ocean before me stretches endlessly. I wonder if somewhere across this same sea, another army is looking at the same moon. Maybe you're thinking of me too. Maybe you're wondering if I'm okay, if I'm happy, if I still think about you. The answer is yes to all of it. Because love doesn't fade with distance. It echoes, it travels, it returns, like a tide that always finds its way back to the shore. I reach out and run my fingers through the sand, watching it slip away between them. This sand has seen everything: storms, sunsets, laughter, tears. It's been stepped on, carried by wind, buried and revealed again. Yet it never loses its essence. Maybe that's what love should be like, too strong enough to endure change, soft enough to be shaped by time. The sound of a wave crashes closer, spraying a cool mist on my face. It feels refreshing, like the sea itself is trying to comfort me. "You've come far," it seems to whisper. "But don't forget, you can rest now." And for the first time in a long while, I allow myself to feel that peace, to not think about tomorrow or the expectations waiting beyond this beach. To just be Jin, not the performer, not the idol, but the human being who still gets lost in thoughts, who still misses people deeply, who still believes in love. When I talk to you through the screen, it's not just a message, it's a connection. You see my face, you hear my voice, but what I hope you feel most is sincerity. Because no matter where you are, you deserve to be reminded that your love matters, that your presence in this journey has meaning. I look up again, and the stars seem brighter. Maybe because I've finally stopped trying to outshine them. There's humility in realizing that you are just one small light among billions, and yet even one small light can change the darkness around it. That's what you've done for me. You turned my darkness into warmth, my fear into gratitude. So tonight, as the sea continues its endless rhythm, I make a silent promise not to forget. Not to let the world's noise drown out this stillness. Not to let time erase the feeling of belonging that you've given me. Because even if the music stops, even if the curtain closes, what we've built here doesn't end. It simply becomes part of something larger, something eternal. I smile faintly, watching the reflection of the moon trembling on the water. Maybe love isn't supposed to stay the same, I whisper. Maybe it's supposed to grow quieter, softer, deeper, just like this night, unspoken but alive. As I rise to my feet again, the wind carries a faint melody, or maybe it's just my imagination. Either way, it feels familiar, like the memory of a song we once sang together. I hum softly, letting the tune blend with the sound of the sea. The moment feels infinite. If you're watching this right now, I hope you feel it too. That warmth, that serenity, that invisible thread that ties your heart to mine. Wherever you are, I hope this night reminds you that even when everything changes, love remains constant. Like the sea, like the stars, like the memory of a sunset that never truly fades. And when tomorrow comes, I'll carry this peace with me, the sound of the waves, the scent of salt and dusk, the knowledge that somewhere out there, Army is still looking up at the same sky, believing, waiting, loving, because even when the world moves on, we know one truth that never changes. Love is still on the edge of the waves, alive, waiting, eternal. The ocean seems quieter now, as if it's listening. The air carries that deep stillness that only appears after midnight, when everything that was loud in the day begins to whisper. I walk closer to the water again, feeling the cool sand sink beneath my feet. Every step leaves a faint mark, one that will disappear with the next wave. I think that's beautiful, in a way. Maybe that's what life is, moments that vanish, but never truly die, because they've already changed us. The moon's reflection ripples as I move, and I can see my shadow stretching across the surface. For a second, it feels like I'm walking beside another version of myself. The boy who started with a dream. The man who stood before millions. The person who learned to love without expecting to be understood. They all live inside me, and yet tonight, they all feel quiet. There's something about solitude that reveals truth. When the noise fades, you hear your heart more clearly. And when I listen now, I hear gratitude and longing. Gratitude for everything we've shared, and longing for everything I can never relive. I used to think longing was sadness, but it isn't. It's proof that something once meant everything. I kneel by the water, letting it wash over my hands. It's cold, but it feels alive. I look up at the sky again and think of how far light travels. Some of the stars shining now are already gone, yet their light is still reaching us. That's love too. It might fade from sight, but its glow lingers for years, decades, maybe forever. If I could send a message to every army right now, it would be simple. Thank you for seeing me. Not just the singer, not just the performer, but the person behind all of it. You've seen my flaws, my quiet moments, my awkward laughter, and you stayed. That's rare. In a world that moves so fast, you stayed long enough to understand me. And that kind of love, it changes a person. There were times I doubted myself. Times when I thought maybe I wasn't enough. When the world expected perfection. But I could only offer honesty. And yet, every time I looked out into the crowd, you reminded me that sincerity is more powerful than perfection. That being human is enough. That's something I will carry forever. The sea breeze picks up again, stronger now, almost playful. It tugs at my jacket, my hair, as if trying to remind me that the world keeps moving. Don't stay still too long, it seems to say. But I can't help it. I want to stay here just a little longer, because this moment feels like a bridge between past and future, between who I was and who I'm becoming. The horizon is faint now, just a blur of silver and blue. I wonder what tomorrow will bring. More stages, more songs, more goodbyes. Whatever it is, I hope I face it with this same calmness, with the reminder that love doesn't fade just because life moves forward. Love is what gives us courage to move at all. I pick up another seashell, this one cracked and imperfect. I turn it in my hand, watching how the moonlight catches on its rough edges. It's not flawless, but it's beautiful precisely because of that. I think that's how love is too. We expect it to be perfect, but the truth is, it's the imperfections that make it real. The waiting, the misunderstandings, the distance, the tears. All of it is proof that love is alive. I hold the shell to my ear again. The sound inside is softer this time, but still steady. It reminds me of a heartbeat. Maybe it's yours, maybe it's mine, maybe it's both. If you're watching this and you've ever felt like you were too small, too unseen, too ordinary, remember this. The ocean doesn't choose which waves matter. They all belong. Every ripple changes the water somehow. You matter too. Even if the world doesn't notice, you change it simply by being here, by feeling, by loving. I look out at the endless dark and feel a strange warmth. I realize I'm not talking to the ocean anymore. I'm talking through it. Maybe that's how connection works when words run out. Maybe that's how souls find each other even when the world keeps them apart. The wind grows softer again, as if satisfied. I whisper, I'll keep singing, no matter where I am. Not just with my voice, but with my heart. Because love doesn't always need an audience, it just needs honesty. I sit again, hugging my knees, watching as the waves stretch out endlessly before me. Somewhere out there, across the same sea, someone is watching this right now, feeling this same silence. I smile at that thought. We may be far, but this moment makes the world feel small. The sky above me is scattered with light stars that have been shining long before we were born. And I think maybe that's what love really is. A light that keeps shining even when everything else fades. A connection that refuses to end even when the distance grows. So I stay here, letting the sea speak for both of us. It whispers softly, like a lullaby, like a prayer, like a promise that nothing truly beautiful ever disappears. It just changes form. And as I close my eyes, I can almost hear it, the sound of thousands of hearts beating in sync, just like during a concert. It's faint, but it's there. Steady, alive, eternal. Maybe that's what it means when dusk touches the heart. It doesn't end the light, it transforms it into something that never fades.